What's up, everybody? Tim here with Gigging the Gig Economy, helping you guys gig a little bit more out of every delivery. This video is all about maximizing your profit potential. There's a lot of money to be made out there. You just have to know how to get it and how to do it efficiently. So that's why I'm creating this video, to help you guys get a little bit more. I'm going to help you take that $15 an hour that you've been making and double it or even triple it. And I know it works because I employ these tactics and it works for me every day. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that you're not an employee. I'm going to help you get out of that employee mindset and into a business mindset so you can employ different tactics towards your deliveries. The second one is that you have to know your value. If you don't know what your value is, you're willing to undercut yourself, and then you'll be taking deliveries that don't make any sense. The third thing is that you have to read your deliveries. I know it pops up on the screen and you only have, between 30 and 90 seconds to accept it. But you have to, in that time, know how to read the delivery, which brings me into the fourth point. Is the fact that you have to know your market. You can't read your deliveries properly if you don't know your market. All right, so let's get into all these topics a little bit more. The first one was, you're not an employee. You have to get out of an employee mindset and into a business mindset. You have your own expenses. You pay business taxes. Uncle Sam looks at you like you're a business. DoorDash, PostMates, they all look at you like you're a business. So you have to start acting like a business. You don't get vacation time. You don't get paid time off. You don't get workman's comp if you were to slide down a flight of stairs. DoorDash, PostMates, and all these people, they're not going to pay you workman's comp for that. That comes out of your pocket. You have to maximize your potential and your profits, because the more money you make, the more likely you're going to be able to take care of yourself when something bad happens. And bad things happen all the time and at the worst times. So the second point was, know your value. You have to know your value. You have to understand what you're worth. Let me put this into perspective for you. How much money do you think they can make without a driver? Zero. That's correct. So your value within this company is huge. You are the sole generator of income for all of these gig apps. They can't make money without you. And guess what? That's a very valuable place to be in. You have a lot of leverage within the company, whether you know it or not. And none of these companies want to admit this to you, because then they'll know that you'll take advantage of that leverage that you have over them, and you'll start maximizing your profits, which means either they're going to have to pay out of their own pocket to you more, or they're going to have to start charging the customer more. Either way they do it, doesn't matter to me, as long as they're paying us what we are worth. Their business would not exist without the drivers, and that's just a fact. So knowing that you have a huge value for the company, that means that you have to know that you can get more money, that you need to earn more money. I know a lot of people say, well, it's such a simple job. I just go pick up food and then I go deliver it. Well, that is true. It can be a simple job, but it's also the fifth most dangerous job in America. It is dangerous being out there driving as many miles as we do. And with danger often comes worth, value, right? There's value in jobs that are more dangerous than other jobs. And our job, whether you believe it or not, is actually quite dangerous. And back into knowing your value, keep in mind that you're worth more money than they're paying you just because you're you. I know that sounds stupid and corny or whatever, but you are worth more than you think you are. We are always our own worst critics. Like whenever I do these videos and I'm having to do multiple takes, I hate looking at myself in these videos because I'm my own worst critic. But that doesn't mean that I look goofy like I think I do or sound goofy like I think I do. And it's the same concept with you guys in terms of your own value. You're worth more than you think you are. Nobody doing this job should be doing it for any less than $20 an hour. That's my opinion. But I know that you're worth it because you are you. and you're able to provide this service to the customer. All right, so now we have a new mindset of not being an employee, and we know our value in the company, right? So we've got this new mindset. Now it's time to get to number 3, which is reading the deliveries. We're going to take this new mindset and we're going to apply it to reading the deliveries, which is the most important of all of these tips and tricks. You have to be able to read your delivery. So I'm going to throw up an example order over here, and I'm going to discuss why I would take something and why I wouldn't take something. A lot of people would look at this, look at the dollar amount, and look at the mileage count, and they'll be like, oh, well, that's worth it. You know, that's right around $1 a mile. As you can see, it's 98 cents a mile. Well, for me, that's a no. This one is a no. I would decline this really fast, actually, just because I've been doing this a while. I know what to look for, okay? So I'm going to go over exactly why I would decline this order that's almost $8. So the first thing is it doesn't meet my $1.50 minimum mileage requirement. I won't take an order that doesn't pay me at least $1.50 a mile. Okay. There are exceptions to that. But for the most part, it's $1.50 a mile. And I do $1.50 a mile because I will take the 50 cents extra for that mile that I get, and I will put it to the side. And that's what I use to fix my vehicles with. That little bit extra, you just sock that away somewhere so that when your car breaks down, you have money to fix it. And that'll keep you rolling and maximize your profits even more. So that's one of the first things that I would notice. And the other thing that I would notice is that all of my deliveries in my market, and this actually comes into number 4, is knowing your market. All the deliveries that I'm going to take are coming out of Owasso. But this one is taking me all the way up almost to Collinsville. And technically, that McDonald's has a Collinsville address. So this is into a new city altogether. And it's almost 8 miles away in total distance. Let's say, for example, I take that delivery. And I get up there and I deliver it to this person. And I don't get any more deliveries. It happens. Right? Well, guess what? I'm going to have to drive all the way back down to Owasso to my house. That means that I will have spent 14 miles for $7.53. And 14 miles going 60 miles an hour, that takes me 14 minutes just for driving, which means that that order is going to be at least 20 minutes, probably 30. So for 30 minutes, I will have made $7.53 and driven 14 miles. That's not worth it. Decline. All right, so let's take a look at this next order here. And this is a very interesting order. And I say that because a lot of drivers would take this, and I can understand why they would take it. This order is bing, bang, boom, and it's done. This is a very fast order because this McDonald's in particular, and this goes into knowing my market, is very fast. They almost always have the food ready when I get there, even when I leave from my house, and it's literally like half a mile from my house. So it's boom, 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 and it's done. And I could probably do this in 10 minutes, but that's if nothing goes wrong. And if when I deliver, I don't have another delivery available to me and they don't immediately send me one, that means I'll end up driving all the way back home, which is going to add 5 minutes to my trip, and it's going to double the mileage. So that 2.4 is going to end up turning into 4.8, which doesn't meet my $1.50 a mile minimum, and it's going to take me 15 minutes to complete this. That's 4 orders an hour that I can take at $5. That's only $20 an hour. That's not worth my time. I am not rolling the dice on this. I will sit at home and continue writing on Facebook groups or, making videos or whatever, doing something else that's going to keep me busy, rather than running these little small nothing orders. It's not worth walking out my front door for $5. So instant decline. All right, y'all, let's take a look at this order. I'm pretty sure you already know what I did to this order. I mean, this is an instant decline. This is ridiculous. This is insulting, in fact. I'm not about to drive 6 miles and spend 20 to 30 to 40 minutes of my day to make $2.10. Now, this brings me back to the first point that I made. You are not an employee, and you do not have to take this crap, and you shouldn't. Nobody should ever take anything like this. I don't care if it was a half a mile away. $2 for an order. Please decline it. Really, DoorDash? Come on now. I got to tip my hat off to you, Tony. You're really trying there, ain't you? What's funnier about this one is that there are other Charlie's Chickens down in that area. So this has got to be a glitch. I don't know. Whatever. Decline. All right, guys, let's get into the fourth point, which is understanding and knowing your market, which is very important. And honestly, this really does tie in with the third point, which was being able to read your deliveries. If you don't know your market, it's going to be harder for you to determine exactly which orders to accept and which orders to decline. As an example, if I had an order that was 4 miles away and it paid me $8.50, normally that'd be a great order, right? And I would jump on that in a heartbeat, and I'd take those all day long. But if it was picking up at the KFC from my house down the road, I'm probably not going to take it, because the KFC, I have a different minimum on that particular KFC. I don't know about other KFCs in other markets, but the one in my market is terrible. Oh my goodness. These guys will run out of chicken, and they won't have put down any more chicken until they run out. So everybody there is waiting 20 to 30 minutes for the chicken to cook. It's absurd. And this has happened to me all the time. And I've started to learn, you know what? If I'm going to go to KFC, it has to be at least $10. Normally, other restaurants that are just normal, you get there, the food's ready or whatever, those are going to be $7. But at that KFC, my minimum is $10. This is really important in knowing your market, because some restaurants are just ran poorly. Okay. The managers suck. They're rude, or they're slow, or they always get your food wrong. And if they always get your food wrong, you've got to factor that in to whether or not you take that delivery. Because if they mess up your order all the time, they leave out the French fries, or they don't give you ketchup, or they don't, put the drinks in there, and you're always having to come back at them. Can you get this? Can you get that? That adds on to your delivery time, which means for each restaurant, you may have a different minimum. Right? The per mile might stay the same, but your minimum amount that you'll take from that restaurant, that particular restaurant, might differ. Also, knowing your restaurant is important when it comes to the addresses you're delivering to, right? If there is an apartment complex that during the summertime, the trees bloom and those trees block the apartment building numbers, that really makes it rough for delivering to this apartment complex. So you're going to need to factor that difference in time in, right? Because it's going to take you longer to find the building unless, you've delivered there for, quite a few times and you know where the buildings are. But again, that's knowing your market. If you know your apartment buildings and you know where they're located, it's going to save you time. But if you don't and you're not sure, you need to factor that into how much your minimum is for that order going to that place. And you need to be able to look at the map and say, oh, I know that that's actually going to this apartment complex, because you may not be able to see it on a satellite view, but you can see in a roundabout way where that delivery is going on the initial offer screen, right? So make sure you take a look at that. And also traffic, time of day. In your market, is it busy during lunchtime? Is it busy during dinner time? Is it busy, in the middle of the night? These things you need to understand about your market, because it will directly affect your ability to make a profit. So throughout the day, my numbers would change. I have a different standard for lunchtime than I do for dinner time. It's busier at 5 o'clock than it is at 7 o'clock. right? So at 5 o'clock, my minimum will be higher than it will be at 7 o'clock because of traffic, right? It's going to take me longer if I leave here at 5 to go pick something up than it will if I leave at 7. You have to know your market. And if you go into a market that you don't know, you might go ahead and increase your base minimums until you start to figure it out. And then you can go from there. All right, guys. So these are the tricks that I use that help maximize my potential earnings. Okay. And I'm making $30 an hour plus. If I was making any less than that, now I say that before expenses. That's before expenses. My minimum after expenses, I want $20 an hour at least. Okay. That's for me. So you find that number that you want, and then you start to calculate per mile, per hour on the dollar amounts that you think are worth it for you. My suggestion is to never take an order that's under $5 unless it's an add-on and it's picking up from the same merchant and it's going in the same exact direction that yours is going. So if it's on my way to the next one and it's picking up at the same merchant, yeah, my minimum will be a little bit different. So guys, I hope this helps you out and really start employing those tactics and set your minimums and stick to them. Okay. That's the most important part. When you roll the dice, and this has happened to me, I've learned it the hard way. When you roll the dice, it doesn't always work out for you. And a lot of times you'll shoot yourself in the foot and you could have missed out on a really good payout offer. Okay. So we'll see you next time. I'm going to be putting more videos out on a regular basis. So I hope you guys hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so that you can get notifications from my channel every time I drop another video. All right. We'll catch you next time. This is Tim with Gigging the Gig Economy, helping you gig a little bit more money for your pocket.